This is a female. I call her Jane. That's the daughter of Seeger. And my colleague Ashley has incredible success with her. It was amazing to me. My native teacher, I initially thought this was just a male Sasquatch. My native teacher, here she is from a different angle, looked at that and said, wow, you filmed a female. Years later, I saw breasts on her, and I've seen her around, and I gauge what female Sasquatch do based on her tracks, which are the same size as the Patterson footage, and her interactions and the way she shows herself. She'll walk around a puddle, a male will blast through it. She'll make gentle, beautiful tree breaks that are precise, and a male is rugged and harsh and wants a big, giant, like egotistical.
Why don't they run away from you?
Right here, she's looking down at me. She's the last line of defense for me going into a position where I was going to get more footage.
Why did they let you get so close?
She didn't. I was moving in a ghillie suit, and I'd come, see that there's snow there? I came in, I had success because it was a snowstorm so bad, you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. So I got into the snowstorm. After the snowstorm, this is the day after, they came back down the mountain.
What was supposed to be a normal night of camping turned into something none of them were prepared for. By the end of it, the forest itself looked like it had tried to erase them. Late that evening, the weather shifted fast. No warning, no gradual build-up. One moment it was manageable, and the next, the wind came screaming through the trees. Branches snapped overhead. Trunks started cracking like gunshots. Within minutes, massive trees were coming down around their campsite. 2 vehicles were suddenly boxed in, completely surrounded by dense woods with no way out. Visibility dropped to almost nothing as rain and debris filled the air. With nowhere to run, everyone piled into their cars and hoped they'd hold. One of the worst parts is that cell service barely worked. After trying and trying, they were able to get short calls out, first to family, then to emergency services. Help was on the way, they were told. The problem would be trying to get to the people. Roads were flooded, trees blocked every access point, crews couldn't reach the area. They were left waiting. Hours dragged by, the storm would ease up just long enough to give them hope, then come roaring back even harder. From inside the vehicles, they could hear distant chainsaws, sirens, and voices echoing through the darkness. Sometimes it sounded close, and then sometimes impossibly far away. Worried the windshield might give out completely, they climbed into the back seats, pressed in together with their dogs, surrounded by broken glass and ruined gear. They were all exhausted, but sleep wasn't really an option. By early morning, the wind finally died down. When daylight broke, the scale of what had happened became clear. The forest didn't look like a forest anymore. Trees were down in every direction. Campsites were crushed. Vehicles were mangled. Entire sections of the park had been flattened. Emergency responders eventually reached them on foot, climbing over logs and unstable ground. The group was guided out slowly, crawling, lifting their dogs, helping one another over debris. At a temporary shelter, they were met by medical teams, the police, and Red Cross volunteers who provided food, clothing, and a place to rest. Investigators later confirmed what it appeared to be. A tornado had torn straight through the area overnight. Their vehicles were totaled. All of their equipment was ruined. Nearly everything they brought with them was destroyed. However, they didn't lose their lives. And honestly, that's the part that sticks with me. Yeah, nature interrupted their trip, basically rewriting the entire landscape in a few hours. But they lived to tell the story, and that's really all that matters. Okay, this next clip I'm going to show you is crazy. Watch this. Watch it. Back in the spring of 2006, a group of campers were set up for the night when the weather at the park took a sudden turn.
Oh, damn it. It's happening! It's happening!
Dark clouds rolled in fast, and before anyone could react, the storm was on top of them. A tornado touched down somewhere nearby, and what did hit them was something just as dangerous. The storm unleashed a barrage of heavy hail, not small pellets either. These were solid chunks of ice slamming into tents with enough force to make everyone duck for cover. One of the campers pointed out strangely through all of it, the wind, the hail, the chaos, the campfire never went out. When the storm finally passed, they came out and the ground was littered with massive hailstones all across the campsite like debris from an explosion. Looking at their size, it became pretty obvious how bad this could have been. I mean, a direct hit from one of those could have caused some serious damage if you got hit in the wrong place. So even though the tornado ultimately missed them, the collateral damage can mess you up pretty good too. On October 8th, 2025, Kevin, the guy behind the YouTube channel Small Plots, headed out expecting another routine camp video. This guy's camped every style you can even imagine. Tarp, tent, rain, hammock, shine, he just adjusts and keep going. The part I like most is that Kevin isn't a spooky story person. He doesn't buy into ghosts, paranormal energy, or anything he can't actually hear or see. I find that's what makes him confident, maybe a little too confident, but that's okay. On this trip, he chose a site right beside one of upstate New York's most infamous locations, Mount Hope Cemetery in Rochester, a massive burial ground said to hold over 350,000 souls. Well, that decision turned the night into a real test. Between odd animal sounds and unsettling noises that seemed to circle his tent, it became a trip he would never forget. He began by scouting a patch of woods just beyond the cemetery's edge. He figured he'd be far enough out to stay unnoticed, but close enough to just close enough.
Oh yeah. There's graves. There are the graves. The leaves are so crunchy. It's gonna give me away, if anything. Okay, so the cemetery is directly behind where the camera is. I think I'm gonna move a little bit this way. Looks like some nice flat ground, kind of encapsulated by trees and branches and stuff. And that should be good. I should be out of view from the cemetery. There's a tennis court area right over here. I'll show you guys in a minute. Of course, the break area for the workmen that work here, and the road.
At first glance, the spot looked ideal. Flat ground, tucked off the road, where the loudest thing should have been wind in the branches and some running water from a creek in the dark. But Kevin wasn't satisfied. No, he wanted closer. So he packed everything up and again pushed deeper into the trees. When he finally pitched his tent, he was only a few dozen yards from Mount Hope's old stone boundary. Close enough to make most people feel a little weird. Earlier, he'd noticed a couple walkers nearby, but now it was just him, alone, with that heavy cemetery presence behind the brush. Well, that's when the sound started. First, they were distant, easy to ignore. But as the light faded, they got louder. Some were normal, tiny animals and dry leaves, but others didn't fit.
The deer are creeping on me right now. I can hear on top of the deer and the chipmunks and the squirrels and probably like mice and stuff. It's just leaves moving constantly around me. I hope that kind of slows down tonight. Probably not. Right behind me you can see the cemetery behind me in the tent. And then right kind of in the brush are looks like 3 deer that are apprehensively looking at me and chewing their cud. Walking by. Gotta be quiet. I don't know who's a walker and who's just someone who works here doing the nightly rounds, you know, making sure nobody's sleeping in the woods. Man, these freaking chipmunks. They're just like hanging out behind me. Talking about rabbits. All that leaf rustling are like chipmunks and stuff running around.
At some point, it hit Kevin that he hadn't seen another camper all evening. No tents, no fires, no voices, nothing. Just him and thousands of headstones sitting silent beyond the tree line. Still, he wanted to finish what he started. But when night settled in and he cooked dinner, the whole thing felt less like comfort and more like a last calm moment. Because right after he ate, the noises returned. Closer now. A twig snapped, then a gunshot, then another, then more, crackling through the trees and echoing hard out into the darkness.
I wish I could get more footage of the cemetery and everything, but even despite the fact that it's like 1 day away, maybe gunshot, despite the fact that it was 1 day away, that it's 1 day away from a full moon, it's too dark to film. Yeah, well, like I said, middle of the city. So I can't get the graveyard like I was hoping. I'm trying so hard to catch the almost full moon good enough to hit some gravestones or something, but yeah, and it's tough. I can't really leave and go walk around the graveyard as much as I'm sure people are probably hoping that I'm doing that. It's just not really, especially with that camera right there. Can't really do that. It's kind of like a journey to get there, if I'm being honest. It's not like just a bloop over. Okay. Yeah, see, so I've been quiet for so long, but now I have a light on and I'm talking, and little animals that are around me are like, hey, there's a guy there. They're not ghosts. Let me just clear this up right now. They're not ghosts. They're like little mice and rats and whatever.
To keep himself steady, he started talking to the camera. You can hear that forced calm, like he's trying to keep his heartbeat from showing. After all, it was the night before a full moon, and the air felt sharp, almost charged. He reminded himself, city cemetery, not a horror movie. Then he heard footsteps grinding through the leaves. Too close to him. He tried to joke it off. Maybe a deer, yeah, maybe a raccoon. But you could tell he wasn't buying it. And then from the cemetery side, more sounds drifted in. Muffled and distant, but clearly human. He didn't go investigate, he just sat there, telling himself it was nothing, that his nerves were amplifying everything. But the longer he stayed by that fire, the more he felt watched. And not by one set of eyes, he sensed several.
There's something walking closer to me. It's probably a deer, but I'm gonna do something just in case it's not. Okay, it stopped walking. Whatever it was, it didn't run away. I'm just gonna go with it. It's a deer. Oh man, I thought that was a deer's butt at first. Before I zoomed in, I thought that was a deer facing the other way. Yeah, well, this is what it's like here, next to the cemetery. You know, pretty chill. A lot of cool, chill things happening. Just like Mondo chill, you know? I know you can't really see it. There's something in the cemetery making like a, I know this is gonna sound stupid, but like a bone clattering sound. Like tick, 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 tick. Like somebody has like a bunch of sticks in a wagon or something.
Eventually, Kevin decided he'd had enough. He zipped up inside the tent, buttoned everything down, and just listened. And that's when it really got going. The woods seemed to shift around him. More steps, circling. He didn't sleep. He couldn't. He laid there until dawn, barely moving, waiting for whatever was out there to make its next move. When morning finally came, he wasn't hurt, but he looked drained, pale, tense, rattled. That night near Mount Hope changed him. Sometimes it's not the dead that gets to you, it's the quiet they leave behind. He never has camped there ever again. In August, a video surfaced on the YouTube channel named What in the World? The channel, run by Tom, an outdoor explorer known for documenting his solo adventures across Canada, as he takes on mountain ranges, winding rivers, remote lakes, and untouched wilderness. Tom set out to canoe across Canada. He'd started at the Rocky Mountains and planned a long journey downriver toward Montreal. As he paddled, he took in the scenery, letting the quiet guide his thoughts as he considered where he might camp next. Then the calm was broken. A sudden sound cut through the silence, sharp and unmistakable. The high-pitched whimper of a dog echoed faintly from the riverbank. Tom stopped immediately, scanning the shoreline. Following the sound, he came upon a disturbing sight. A dog was trapped beneath a partially submerged log, its body stuck in thick mud.
There's a dog here. Doesn't look very well. Puppy. Maybe he's stuck. You okay? He doesn't look okay. Can't see anyone, there's no tracks. See if I can help him. He seems to be crying. You okay, buddy? Oh, buddy, how long you been here? Are you stuck? Are you stuck? Just log on you or something. Okay, the log's not on you anymore. Are you okay? What's wrong? Talk to me. Can you come? Come on. Can you move? Can you move, buddy? You've been here a long time. You in any pain? You okay, buddy?
Its back legs were pinned, unable to move, and the fear was clearly visible in its eyes. I mean, this is really incredible. The odds of finding this animal in this area, to say the least, are low. Even in the video, you can barely see the dog. Yet there it is, helpless and alone, far from any visible signs of people or nearby camps. Without hesitation, Tom pushed the log aside and carefully stepped into the shallow water to free the dog. His heart raced, not from fear, but from concern, as it became clear the animal couldn't move on its own. With no help nearby, Tom made a quick decision. He gently lifted the dog onto his canoe, doing everything he could to avoid causing further harm. As they floated downstream, the minutes dragged by. The dog whimpered softly, and Tom worried it might be a stray with no owner waiting ahead. There might not be anyone looking for this dog. Finally, Tom spotted a house along the riverbank and guided the canoe toward the dog.
It's okay. Lie down. And I was clean as well. But it's okay. He might have been there quite a while. And my hope that he belongs to the house down here. And if he's not there, dog, then I'll have to make some phone calls and see what we can do. The dog was barking while I was coming past, but it didn't know that I was there, and it was barking in such a way that it had lost its voice. So he or she's been barking for a long time and can't bark anymore. So there's a dock here in front of me, and there's a house just up from it. So, and this is only about 200 meters from where the dog was stuck. So I'm hoping that this house is its owner, or at least they know his owner.
The dog, exhausted but alive, leaned against him, trusting him completely. When Tom rang the doorbell, the homeowner was stunned. The dog, a 14-year-old named Ivy, had been missing for 2 days. The entire family had feared the worst. That's a long time for an older dog to survive out in the wilderness by itself. But thanks to Tom's quick thinking, she was alive. Relief washed over everyone as Ivy wagged her tail weakly, and the gratitude from her owners was undeniable.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Hey, I'm just canoeing. I'm canoeing across Canada.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just canoeing past, and I saw a dog that's been stuck in the mud.
Oh, no. Is it live still?
Yeah, I was wondering, is it your dog?
Yeah, probably a white one.
Yeah.
Oh.
It looks like he's been there a long...
Looking for a long time.
It looks like he's been there a long time.
Where is she?
I dragged him out of the... I don't know if it's a girl. Is it a girl? I dragged her out of the mud and put her on my canoe. And I've brought her here on your dock.
Thanks, because I've been looking for her, and I looked down there, too.
She's a nice dog. I was worried at the beginning.
She's 14 years old.
Oh, she can't move her back legs very well. I don't know if that was normal.
No.
But I had to move a log that was on the back of her. Oh. She was in the water, half in the water, half on the mud.
Jeez.
And
I looked all over for her. She's been gone 2 days.
It looks like she's been there a while.
Is she alive?
She's okay.
Oh.
She was barking when I came past, but it looked like she's...
Looking for her? How far is she? Was she right by the dock?
No, she was a few hundred...
She's down there.
A few hundred meters up there, and your dock was just the next...
Why I couldn't find her.
Your dock was the next one, so that's why I just came straight here.
Oh, man. Thank you. Oh. Well, better give her a bath, eh? What were you doing going in there, you silly old dog?
Now, this encounter, it's not super scary, it's not supernatural, but it's a powerful reminder of how unpredictable the wilderness can be. Even close to your home, unexpected things can happen. Moments that demand action and compassion. Tom's decision turned what could have been a tragedy into a story of hope, proving that sometimes the most unsettling situations can end in the most human way possible. She wasn't woken up by her alarm. She was woken up by the sound of something moving all around her tent. A woman had been camping all alone in the woods with her dog when the noise started. It wasn't just one animal passing through. It was coming from multiple directions, close enough that she immediately sat up and froze. Her dog picked up on it too, alert, tense, listening. It wasn't even barking, it was trying to figure out what was going on. The creepiest part is that whatever was out there wasn't rushing or panicking. The movement sounded coordinated, almost like a group circling or passing through together. She tried to stay still, she didn't reach for anything, she didn't try to scare them off. She and her dog stayed perfectly still, which is really telling. Only once the forest settled back into silence did it feel safe enough to move. When they finally left, it was quiet. Too quiet. Like whatever had been there had scared everything away in the general area. It's hard to say who or what was responsible. The group behavior points towards something social, possibly coyotes moving together or even foxes traveling through the area.
Fighting with each other. Yeah. He's got him by the tail. Check the tail.
Yo.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
There's a territorial fight. Yo.
Look, he's running.
Yo.
Oh my god.
Yes, he's got that crook in his grip, eh? Yeah.
That's amazing.
That was crazy, yo.
This story comes from the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization. Give them a follow as they pump out amazing content. Back in September of 1973, a hunting trip into Idaho's Lochsaw Wilderness turned into something none of the men involved ever forgot. At the center of it all weren't footprints or sightings at first, it was horses. This group wasn't made up of inexperienced campers. These were lifelong hunters and ranchers who relied on horses deep in the mountains. And one thing they knew their animals well, especially which behaviors meant danger and which didn't. Bears, cougars, dangerous people. Close encounters with predators were normal out there. The horses had dealt with it all before. That's why what happened stood out immediately. One morning, two hunters rode out at first light after an overnight snowfall. The forest was unusually quiet, too quiet. As they approached a wide open area near Surprise Creek Canyon, both horses suddenly became agitated. Not curious, not alert, they were terrified. They snorted, refused to move forward, and had to be spurred just to keep walking. Behavior their riders had never seen from them before. Then they crossed the tracks. The snow was pristine, perfect for holding detail, and what lay ahead wasn't anything either man could identify. The impressions were massive, roughly 1.5 feet long, set in a straight bipedal stride with no drag marks. Whatever made them was walking upright, confidently, and recently. That was enough. The moment the horses crossed those tracks, they bolted. Not a spook, they didn't stumble. This was a full-on sprint that they didn't stop for nearly a mile. Now, seasoned mountain horses don't do that without a reason. They thought this was over, but the most disturbing part came the next day. Another pair of hunters encountered two men packing up camp early. Men who had drawn a once-in-a-lifetime bighorn sheep tag and were abandoning it without hesitation. Their gear was half missing, their horses were barely under control, and they looked like they hadn't slept. They admitted the night before had gone bad fast. First, the horses became restless after dark. Then the sound started. Deep, primal screams echoing through the canyon. Not coyotes, not animal calls, something louder, lower, and deliberate. Whoops, whooping sounds that carried across the valley. Before they knew it, rocks and branches began slamming into their tent. Out of nowhere, and remember, these guys are seasoned hunters and horseback riders. Their horses had broken loose and ran. Now, they're not sure if they were let loose or if they broke loose, but regardless, they ran. The men fired warning shots into the air, not aiming at anything, just trying to make whatever was out there back off. Eventually, the screaming stopped. The horses returned near dawn, and the hunters didn't wait. They grabbed what they could find and fled the wilderness, leaving behind equipment, supplies, and a tag most hunters would never give up under normal circumstances. Now, as you guys know, taken on its own, screaming in the woods can be sometimes explained. Animals, foxes, elk, even mountain lions can produce unsettling sounds. But those animals don't coordinate harassment. They don't throw stuff, and they don't cause trained horses to panic so completely that multiple groups abandon camp. And yes, horses are prey animals, so they attract predators, but they're also extremely perceptive. They have very keen senses, and when horses react like that, especially ones proven calm around known predators, it suggests something unfamiliar, something they don't recognize as part of their everyday world. Now, unfortunately, no photos were taken, there was no official report filed, just men who quietly left and never returned. Unfortunately for us, sometimes in places that remote, that's all you get. But I'd love to know, what would you have done? Would you have stayed? Is this enough to make you pack up and disappear? And what do you think about the horses' reactions? I mean, that's probably the most telling part to me. Anyhow, curious as to your thoughts.